Welcome to Popcorn for Breakfast, the spoiler-free movie review podcast. Today we're bringing you an exclusive look at Bad Boys, Ride or Die. That's right, the fourth installment of the Bad Boy franchise. Let's do this.
This is Popcorn for Breakfast, presented by St. Louis Area Smoothie Kings. Now, here are your hosts, Cam and Kirk.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Popcorn for Breakfast. That's right, we're the bad boys of movie review podcasts.
Definitely. We break all the rules, including Kirk always saying exclusive at the beginning of our episodes when there's actually literally nothing exclusive about this whatsoever.
It's so exclusive. We went to a screening of this film last night filled with probably 400 other people.
It was packed.
Pretty exclusive, if you ask me. This is Cam Wiggs over here, ladies and gentlemen, or as I like to call him, Mike Lowry.
Yep.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome to the podcast.
That makes you Martin Lawrence.
That's right.
Congratulations.
You know what's funny about that character is that no matter what, from the first one to the last one, I always have trouble remembering his character name, which is Marcus Burnett.
Yeah.
But to me, it's always Martin Lawrence.
To me, well, because they both start with Mar, I think that's part of it. But also, I feel like he seems like a Mike.
Yeah.
And the other one seems like a Marcus.
And they flip it.
To me, because Mike is kind of like a family man kind of name. Like, I've never met a Mike who's not like a dad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird. But that's not here. That's not what we're here to discuss, okay?
We're talking about the etymology and perception of names today instead of something cool like, I don't know, an action-packed fourth installment of a comedy action movie. We're going to get into all the things today. We're going to talk about the best actor, the best scene stealer, the show-stopping elements of the production of this film, and we're going to also give our thoughts on how we could make it better because we are movie producers.
And we're going to do it spoiler-free. So if you haven't seen the movie, you can still stick around and hear our thoughts.
This movie's dropping on this Friday, June 7th. We're recording just a couple days before. So make sure that if you haven't seen it, don't worry. We can tell you our thoughts and you can make your own decisions. You can still go see the movie after you hear our decisions, which we always encourage.
Yes.
And let's get into it.
Let's do it.
First up, and the Oscar goes to, this is our best acting category, and I get to go first.
You do, which seems appropriate.
What power? Oh, real quick, I love the Bad Boys franchise.
I know you do, and I'm happy for you that it is here in 2024, a franchise that started in 1995. Somehow this is only the fourth film. There were some big gaps in there. Yeah. But they're still around for you. Your Bad Boys are still here, Kirk, and I'm happy for you.
And now we're Bad Boys, and that brings me joy.
It's a full circle moment for you.
Bad Boys 1, saw it when I was way too young. Bad Boys 2, also too young, saw it in the theater, blew my mind, and now 3 and 4 have come. 4 is what we're talking about, and I have to give all of my power and all of my accolades to William Smith. Yeah, that's right, Will Smith holding down the Mike Lowry position. I gotta say, in the third installment of this franchise, he completely lost himself. He was not his character that we saw in 1 and 2. He was just this kind of almost a clown, just kind of cracking jokes, just not understanding where he needed to be. So there was probably some life stuff going on. Not that Will Smith has anything going on at home.
What could you possibly be alluding to, Kirk?
I don't know. Jada Pinkett Smith. Yeah.
I thought you were just going to talk about I didn't think you were going to go all the way there. I thought you were just going to be like, the slap heard around the world.
Oh yeah, I'm going straight to the source, Cam.
Hey, that's fair.
But yeah, I really thought from beat 1 we saw the character and not Will Smith trying to be this character. It was very, very confirming, very validating as someone who loves this franchise and loves who these characters were introduced as and what they can be.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I think that. And I agree wholeheartedly on your thoughts on number 3, that I thought both him and Martin Lawrence were actually caricatures of themselves in that movie, and just like not fully in character. It's like when you watch a sporting event, you can tell one of your favorite players is locked in. That's how I felt about Will Smith in this movie. Yeah. So I think you're right on the money. I'm obviously going to pick somebody else because that's the rules. But for my Oscar, I'm going with his running mate, Martin Lawrence, who plays Marcus Burnett. Now, I have to preface this by saying I wholeheartedly disagree with a lot of the character choices they've made. with Marcus, starting from the third film onward. And in this movie, he really is just he's really just a jester of sorts. You know, they just kind of poke fun at him, and in ways that were sometimes happened in the first two movies, but in the last two movies have just been ratcheted up to 1,000,000 in a way that I think is just really kind of disingenuous and not great. But I give him a lot of credit for, I don't know, I guess being a good sport. He clearly understood the tone of the movie, and he understood his role within that, for better or worse. And I do feel like he played really well. But also in the more serious moments, him and Will Smith still have it, man. They still were clicking on all cylinders. And there were some moments where they stepped away from the sillier stuff to do some more classic type bad boy antics and bits. And those were my favorite parts of the movie, where it felt like old bad boys, and Martin Lawrence and Will Smith were both clicking. So it's appropriate that they were our picks.
That's right. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's move on to Scene Stealer. Who stole the show when they were on the screen? And it's got to go to, for me, Mr. Jacob Scipio. Scipio. I don't know how you pronounce that. Scipio, possibly. He plays a character. His name is Armando. This is not a spoiler because this was revealed in the third installment.
Right.
But he plays Will Smith's son. His long forgotten son. Didn't know he had a son by this crazy lady that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that third movie.
It's really bad. Number
It's bad,
3
yeah.
it's a very bad movie. So if you were hoping that they would return to form, even though they're bringing back some characters from that movie, it is a return to form. This film is a return to form. That's spoiler free. That's just to give you confidence that if you love this franchise, you can return to it from that aspect of it. What I loved about this character is that he was doing everything he could to make this character work. There wasn't a lot of dialogue, honestly. It was a lot of him just being around, and he's a very athletic, very strong person. If you remember from the third one, that continues in this one. He's just built like a beast. He gets a lot of good action scenes, and I really thought that in the poignant moments where he had to just be present in some pretty big moments of the film, some pretty big subplots of the film, he nailed it. Big home run. So Jacob Scipio, I see you, and I hope to see more of you.
Yeah, good pick, and kudos to you for finding anyone to give Scene Stealer to, because my Scene Stealer is no one. My Scene Stealer, I try not to play this card. It's a cheap card. It's a cop-out, no pun intended, but it is.
Oh, because they're cops in this movie.
Right?
Bad boys, bad
That's a
boys.
good one. Yeah, it's no one. I thought, well, I mean, here's the thing, and I can't apparently bury the lead too far. I don't even think I got through Oscar Goes To without my first ding against this movie.
Yep.
I didn't like this movie, so it's going to become very clear now. This script is just bad all over the place. Both the script and the actual screenplay, meaning like the concept of the movie and the plot and all of that, and the actual dialogue in the screenplay, bad. And the cast is just, there's nothing here to write home about for me. Vanessa Hudgens, I mean, the names you'll recognize: Vanessa Hudgens, Ioan Griffith, Rhea Seehorn, even, who like is a
Better Call Saul, right?
Emmy nominee, right?
Yeah.
No. In fact, I thought she specifically was really not good. They had nothing really to work with, and they did nothing with what they had. So I really didn't find anybody enjoyable in this movie besides our two leading men.
Yeah, I support you in that decision. Now let's talk about the show-stopping moments of this, whether it's an element of the film, whether it's a moment in the film, spoiler-free. Let's talk about it. So I would have to go, the first 11 to 12 minutes of this film are the most solid piece of this film, the longest and most consecutive parts of this. There are some bright spots throughout. There, like Cam mentioned, these moments where Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, they really have their bad boys moment. They have their they're on the mission, and they're recovering from a battle from the bad guys, and all these moments. Those are bright spots. But that first 11 to 12 minutes is so solid. I was just locked in. You couldn't pull me away from the screen during that time. I thought that the action, the dialogue, the momentum, the commitment between every character before we learned that the supporting cast was garbage was really great. They were all really committed. So if only we could have gotten that consistently throughout the rest of the movie, I think we would have been in a better place speaking about this today.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. That was actually the top of my list as well. So you stole it, which is totally fine. It's the right answer, in my opinion. If there can be a right answer, it is. The Bad Boys movies have these great intros to them, with the exception of number 3. So when this movie had such a gripping intro, I got excited. I was like, oh man, here we are. We're returning to form. Like you said, like this is going to be great. I do love that opening scene all the way to the title card. It worked. Whereas like with Bad Boys 3, it felt forced, it felt generic. But in this one, it felt a lot more natural. And so it was the right way to start the movie. For me, my showstopper, I'm actually going to give some shouts to our directors, Adil and Bilal, who you may not remember are also the directors of Bad Boys for Life, and were the directors of the now canceled Batgirl film that will never see the light of day, starring Brendan Fraser and Leslie.
Leslie Odom Jr.
No, I'm the worst. What
Leslie Grace. Leslie Snake.
I don't know. That's bad. I totally forgot. But
Leslie
anyway,
Microphone. I'm just saying.
Adil and Bilal, and they also did Miss Marvel. I'll find her name because she deserves it. I think she's a really good actor and didn't deserve to have her movie canceled. Anyway, all of that notwithstanding, what I will give our directors credit for is that they took chances. You know, they had a visual aesthetic and they had things that they wanted to do, and they went out and did it. They didn't like. A problem I have with a lot of modern films, particularly in the like straight to streaming era, you get a lot of movies that are shot very safely. You know, nobody's trying anything new. They're just shooting it how you would shoot, like, you know, if somebody said, go make just a regular old movie, you know, they're not trying anything. They're not trying any new techniques or anything. Mm-hmm. These guys, to their credit, are absolutely trying stuff. They're doing all kinds of things. They've got all kinds of motion and different transitions and all of those things. That said, I did not like the visual aesthetic at all, but the things that they're doing are legitimate attempts at putting their mark on this film and enforcing an aesthetic and being consistent and all the good things you want directors to do. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen, you know, like just because I don't like it doesn't mean that they weren't consistent, doesn't mean that they weren't trying stuff. I just happen to not like their vision behind it, but they had a vision.
They did.
And so I give them credit for that.
That's beautiful. By the way, let the record show, one of my attempts was
Leslie Grace, right? Yeah. When you said it, I was like, I think that is actually right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Shout out Leslie Grace.
She is really good, by the way. So I feel bad for her that movie got canceled, but I have a feeling that movie was a dumpster fire, despite what people involved with it have said.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it might still come to light. We'll see.
It'll be on Amazon Prime whenever they finally reach some sort of agreement.
It'll be on Freevee or Tubi. I don't know.
MGM Plus is what it'll be on.
All right, let's talk director's shoes. This is where we pick apart how we could have done things better, because of course we could. My director's shoes, let's start with the writing. This movie did not make sense. What was so great about Bad Boys 1 and 2 is that it is an action film with great, witty cutaways and insertions and dialogue that just makes it work. They're all plot catalysts, every line that comes in. What we have in the writing in Bad Boys 3 and now 4 are gimmicks trying to get us to the next point, including gimmicks that lead us to giant set pieces. It was maddening to watch these things unfold. You could see the breadcrumbs being thrown out, and I just got mad or secondhand embarrassment as things unfolded. And then again, with the artsy moments, as Cam said, I really thought that there were some bold artsy moments that failed and fell flat on their face. It was very upsetting to watch that too, because it just shook you. It took you out of the movie, because while you got to make big swings, they were the wrong big swings entirely. And those are my director's shoes.
Yeah, and I think when you're picking up a franchise like these guys have in films 3 and 4, now sure, they are picking up a franchise that had a 17-year gap between 2 and 3. So it's not going to be picking it up where you left off. You do have to make some tonal changes, probably some aesthetic changes to make it make sense and not have the audience be like, how can we just be right back where we were? Obviously, you had to make some changes. But what they've chosen to do with this franchise goes right into my director's shoes. Is the tone is whack. The tone is I don't like it at all, and it is. I can see why studios like these guys, because I think that they, Marvel liked them for that Miss Marvel series, and they had a couple good episodes of that series and I thought the series actually looked good most of the time.
Yes.
But the writing was rough, which didn't involve them. All of that notwithstanding, I can see why studios like these guys, because their whole goal is to make a crowd pleasing popcorn movie. They were not trying to. That's what is like front of mind for them. Make this an entertaining crowd pleaser. And so they're going for those big set pieces. They're going for way over the top stuff to help a mainstream, like to basically force a mainstream audience to laugh. And that's the thing. These laughs that they're inserting in these movies are cheap.
Yes.
Cheap. Like stuff that you have to laugh at because it's preposterous. Like some of the stuff that happens in this movie, you won't even believe. It's going to blow your mind. Like, and people, there will be riotous laughter, but actually the moments that got the best laughter were the things that were kind of like old school Bad Boys. And there were a couple key segments where it's like, here's something that's not gimmicky, that feels on tone with the rest of the series and just hits. And that's where they totally missed the mark for me and totally lost me. The tone is terrible. It's as if they're making fun of Bad Boys.
Yes.
This whole thing plays like a parody movie. Mind you, the first two movies are action comedies, but they're action movies too. They're not just comedies, and they're not parody films. I mean, this plays like if you've ever seen like a Tyler Perry Medea movie or like Scary Movie or something like that. Like it plays like a parody film, and particularly with what they do with Marcus Burnett, like I hated even giving him my Oscar, even though I thought he did well. I hate the choices that they made with that character, and the way that they've just turned this whole thing into like some big joke. I really don't understand why that's the direction, and I'm like irrationally angry about this. This franchise means almost nothing to me, to be honest. Like,
and it means the world to me.
It means so much to Kirk, so he's the one who should be really mad. Like, I'm fairly new to Bad Boys. I didn't like grow up with it or anything, but the point is, they took a franchise that was a legitimately good action comedy franchise and turned it into some sort of like super quirky, visually overstimulating, ugly, tacky. Like it's a tacky film. This is like these guys made like the LMFAO of movies. Like bad lyrics, script, bad like good chorus, which is like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, but everything else is like trash, right?
Yep.
You can bob your head to it at times, but it's like, this is garbage.
Or you can nod your head to it. Shout out to Will Smith's Men in Black 2 song. Hey.
Good call. But I just hate what they've done with the tone, and that's where they lost me for sure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love the allusion to LMFAO.
Yeah, shout out LMFAO.
They're probably all ODing at this moment.
Well, they're like trust fund. Weren't they like sons of producers or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
So I think it was all just a laugh for them anyway. For all we know, they were pulling a great ironic. They were playing characters or something.
They're like, watch this.
They're actually super sophisticated.
They're all doctors,
right?
Surgeons. All right. Well, let's give our final thoughts and score on this film. For me, it comes down to let's rank them. So my top of these four is 1,000% Bad Boys 2 is at the top of my list. You cannot convince me otherwise. Followed by Bad Boys 1, followed by Bad Boys 3, which is called Bad Boys for Life. And then, I apologize. That's actually my fourth. Let me restart. Oh, gosh.
3 is your worst.
Cut this all out.
No. We got it. Pull it back.
Here we go. Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 4, Bad Boys 3 is at the bottom. This one comes in third place for me, so I need to have that score reflect upon it. The third one was so awful. There was like a witch storyline with the woman who was the mother of Armando. They tried to milk that through and through, and it was just hot garbage. At the end of that film, it looks like they're over a pit of lava, which makes no sense at all. So that one's the bottom. This one is number 3 for me, and I just really thought they were going to pull it together. I just thought that with Will Smith locked in, and he's a producer on films. I don't know if he's a producer on this, but he produces films, and he's got such an eye for acting that he should have had a conversation, had a red table talk with all of the crew and said, hey, we really have to make this a hit. Will it be a box office hit? Probably, but it's not going to be a withstanding, solid movie. And for that reason, this film gets a 3.5 out of 10 kernels for me.
Yep. First of all, I agree with your ranking top to bottom. Mine's exactly the same. I do think the third one is the worst. I hate pretty much all of the plot choices that were made in that movie, and I hate that we are still reckoning with them in this film, because I think it drags this film down too, which is really a shame. This franchise used to be great. It's not anymore. And I think there's a lot of critics out there who will tell you like, it's just a popcorn movie. It's just a summer blockbuster. It can be stupid. It can be fun. Absolutely, it can be stupid. Absolutely, it can be fun. But this is like tasteless.
Yes.
You know, this is tasteless garbage. Not a lot of this stuff is being done with intent or with intelligence. Like there needs to be, if you're going to make it stupid, it needs to be stupid for a reason. It needs to have a purpose. It needs to fit. I love tons of movies that have stupid humor, but it's consistent throughout. It's it's consistent with every other film in that series, so that it all fits together. This does not fit. This is, I really despise what they've done with this franchise. I did not like the third one. I do not like this one. I think we need to have, I feel this way about Fast and Furious too. Like everybody's like, it's dumb. Of course it's not real. It's whatever. It's like, I know, but the whole point of a movie, regardless of how stupid it is to suspend your disbelief. That is what it is. It's supposed to take you somewhere else and make you believe that you're there. So yeah, Thanos isn't real either. I'm aware of that. But there are times where he really feels like it. There are times where, you're watching Oppenheimer. It really looks like in that case, they actually did do it. But you get what I'm saying? Like it has to suspend your disbelief. Fast and the Furious has never done that for me. The older films are better. The new films are garbage. This has taken the exact same route as Fast and Furious, just over a smaller number of films and a different timeline.
Yep.
It's bad. I'm giving it a 3.0 out of 10.
Imagine Bad Boys 5 in space.
Bad Boys 5. They should just, at this point, they should just cross over.
With...
I think Bad Boys is Columbia Pictures, though, and the other one's Universal, so that won't work.
They can make it work. Think of Sony and Marvel.
It can be done. They honestly should. They're essentially the same
thing. You imagine? They're like, we're detectives. We're the bad boys. And Vin Diesel comes in, we're family.
Yeah, no thanks.
You're not our family.
But again, like, might as well at this point.
That'd be pretty fascinating. I think I used to do that with like my G.I. Joes and like Barbies. I would grab my sister's Barbies, be like, hey, we're going to save you all today. And that's exactly
and
how
you
it
probably
should be.
wrote a better script than these guys did for this movie,
Dude,
to be honest.
Man, when I played with my toys as a kid, I wrote like 3-hour epics. I would like get my blankets wrapped up like a cave, and my desk would be a whole headquarters, and it was incredible.
Respect.
It was incredible. I wish I could go back in time. But ladies and gentlemen, this week, Bad Boys Ride or Die hits theaters for you basically everywhere. I can't imagine there's a city that this is not going to be accessible in. Our crowd was packed, and there were people outside that were hoping to get access to this screening as well. Probably like 50 to 60 people by my guesstimate, and I don't think they got to see it. So shout out to those people who came, stood in line, and had to go straight home with their popcorn and soda. That's devastating to me.
That's a tough scene.
So hopefully you get your ticket. Hopefully you get to see this. Hopefully you get to enjoy this and tell us what you think. Are you a Bad Boys fan? Did you like 1 and 2? Do you like 3? And will you like 4? It's yours to tell. We can't wait to hear from you. Be sure to check us out on all of our different social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram. What else is there? Popcornforbreakfast.com. We've got new blog content dropping there almost weekly at this point. We're ramping that up even more. So if you like reading about all types of movies, not just the ones that are biggest at the box office, you like niche stuff, we got you covered. Beautiful. Well, we'll see you on all of those and on our next episode. We'll talk to you then. Peace.